Greetings and welcome to the energy of Libra. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. I do welcome you to the channel. If you are new, please stay tuned for future readings. So we are moving and progressing into 2023. This is a reading for the month of February for the energy of Libra. Now, the 7th house is open, as well as its opposite, its polar opposite. That is the first. And the 1-7 axis tends to indicate essentially the disintegration of Martian energy, as Mars and Venus occupy rulership of these houses. There is a conflict and resolution sort of energy that comes through cardinal energy and the collision of cardinal energy. And I strictly use the word collision here. We can take, let's say, the energy of Mars, which is productive, highly productive. It's also affirmative. It places essentially karma into action without thought, without the sense of thought. The superego is indicated here. Any sort of childlike mentalities is the energy that Libra brings into existence. Often these individuals are not, it's not that they're immature, it's that they lack inhibition. And this deficiency in inhibition produces effects, produces a great deal of karma. But it's without thought. It's purely a state of doing, as opposed to thinking, or anything that has to do with the process of time. Okay, thinking through time, waiting for time to pass or elapse in order to create something. And often Libra will bring in individuals that are here to push them in a certain way, so that Libra can balance, the energy of Libra can balance through Venus, the sort of the missing points of Mars energy. Now, out of all the fire signs, that is the triplicity of fire, that is the 1st, 5th, and the 9th house, that's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I would say that cardinal fire is perhaps the most conducive to the process of purgation, purification. Okay, Leo, the 5th house, as well as the 9th house, is very conducive to that as well, but to a lesser degree because of the mutability and the fixed aspect of fire. So there's an intensity to the 5th house. There's an expansion through Jupiter in the 9th. But it's the 1st house that actually produces the beginning of the zodiac and the sort of coming of the new year, the new solar and Martian energy that comes through that. So the mystery here when Libra is dealing with these people is to see them in the light of someone who has died and is coming to bring forward a system that is very bodily, okay? So animation is the key word to the 1st house, and you're going to bring in animated people, animated characters, to the point of even comic, the comic degree, in which they can be seen through their reactivity and through their own faith, essentially comic effects coming through, comic and karmic effects, karmic effects. There's something of a comedian, a reactive comedian in these people. These are just small sort of looks into the energy that Libra pulls in. Now, the interesting thing is that often they may see you as someone who's trying to perfect or has blocks in perfection, trying to create something in terms of balance with deep affinity, deep polarized affinities, okay? Libra is balancing out essentially the affinities that Scorpio, the 8th house, eventually gravitate towards. And these are very polarized affinities. So Libra will establish binary systems, ways of thinking, intellectual detachment, and wagering on each sort of option in order to balance out, something in perfection, okay, in perfection through the sixth house, through essentially dealing with blocks or obstacles and then negating those by sort of embracing the crisis, okay, that these people will bring into your life, and then balance that out, how to create balance, rebalancing all of that. Okay, so that's that with the first and the seventh axis. We'll move in now towards a karmic reading for the month of February 2023 for the energy of Libra. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I would say this has to do with procuring a way to feel at ease with yourself. There's a tie between the psychosomatic things that are caused by the psyche, by the mind, and by psychological barriers within the mind in order to produce the effect of health or to see what's going wrong with your own health, your own balance. So there is an ability in the month of February to essentially see through the nonsense, to find very potent connections, okay, that are immediately reflected in your own bodily composition, okay. This is a chemical thing, and it actually reflects the nature of clairvoyance, clairaudience, the capacity to see through the nonsense when it comes to real reactive qualities in your own physical composition. Therefore, it is important in the month of February to see what feels right on an instinctual level when it comes to relationships, when it comes to your creative projects, when it comes to deep connections. And you may find that in order to be healthy, you would have to embrace this. You would have to see what truly is toxic and to let that go. This is a month of purgation, purifying the body primarily. I see here a way to balance out two different projects as well as a possibility that you are being informed in terms of the natural change and evolution of the world around you. You are a student of this, and there's something that you can contribute to create perfection, but this has to do with balancing out two different things. So it would be wise for the month of February to balance out two different projects, to have your hand in things that make you feel good physically. Okay. Now we're going to look onto a more incidental level when it comes to these two projects, when it comes to essentially balancing out something here that's directly related to your health. But I am not a physician, but I do have some astrological insights that can prove healthy. A lot of it has to do with Mercury. Mercury as well as Venus, the earthy side of Venus here. Okay, so the crown of creation comes through as well as experience in general. There's something that you may experience when it comes to producing the effect of blocking out an experience so that you wouldn't have to deal with it again on one side, and then the other side is true realization, truth and thought, and being able to see and meet with your past self when it comes to the way you've seen how this was going to turn out, okay? So basically what I'm seeing here is Seven of Swords in the reverse. Is a possibility to, okay, and then the Ace would negate that. It would be the Six of Swords in reverse. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of processing when it comes to two things manifesting, okay? Two projects, two different ways of commitment, two different ways in which you invest your time. You're going to find that there's a center point where you will be able to balance those both out and would create harmony for between those two projects or those two relationships, okay? And those commitments will actually be fruitful in the way you process anything that has to do with an instinct, okay? All of this has to do with instinct. And through the Nine of Rods, there's an ability for you to essentially come up with a sense of truth from what has occurred, from your past experiences, from anything that has to do with the production of the right way of doing things, okay? And there's an ability for you to essentially negate the Seven, come to the Six of Swords in the reverse with these two cards, and essentially come forward with clarity of mind by embracing essentially your instinct, your empathy, your understanding on an emotional level, the past and the currents of the past, okay? And how essentially now these are reflecting on a still point between two different projects, okay, two different relationships, and an ability to find harmonious sort of equilibrium with all of that. Embrace Mercury, let your mind wander, and as your mind wanders, you may find the sort of instinct or the intuition that is being enthralled and called upon for you this month. Now, we're going to move directly into the Great Mirror, okay? By the way, if you are dealing with balancing out different things, I think you may find out that it's going to be very beneficial for you. There's nothing to fear in terms of two different relationships, two different projects, two different places of work, two different ways of thinking. As you embrace Mercury, as well as Mercury going direct in late January or mid-January and beyond, there's a strong proclivity towards Gemini, okay, which is going to bring forward actions of the third house, relationships, friendships, close communities, and you're going to be able to work with these in a very harmonious way. Now, the Great Mirror is a 9-card spread devised by the Order of the Twin Sun, and it is here to produce an insight on 3 different levels between the energy of Libra and a significant other, another connection of some sort, or it could be a mirror of yourself, person, place, or thing, someone special, someone not so special, but someone who has an effect on Libra. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look into that for the month of February. Thanks for your likes. If you like, subscribe, and hopefully have more content for you soon. Okay. This connection is based on the Hermit in the reverse, okay? The underscoring sort of element here has to do with coming out of the shell, coming out of the inner world and back into the outer. This movement from the inner to the outer world produces the effect of light or false light, okay? There's an ability to see the great potential of thought, of meandering thought, and also of exploring the infinite abyss of the soul and bringing forward that which is from the subconscious, okay? So essentially it's making the subconscious into the conscious, this connection, whoever you're dealing with. They see you as someone who's worked hard, but something about it wherein you've also been lucky in terms of what you've been given. A very blessed individual they see you as. And there's a possibility that you are bringing forward Leo's energy as well as the dormant energy of Sagittarius, of Jupiter, and bringing that forward in such a way to give you this blessing, okay? At the same time, you are non-cooperative with this person. This person is primarily, you see them as someone who is possibly in it to strive forward in a social order, to bring forward a sense of rising in terms, or ascent in terms of their own thing. There could be an element of jealousy or envy here. Okay. So, in this respect, they steal your worldview, okay, on the unconscious level. They steal your worldview. They try to encapsulate what you've seen in terms of your own freedom, your own liberation from society, your own ways of doing things when it comes to work, when it comes to the ability to produce anything in the material realm. Whether it be connections with others or possibly wealth, you are gifted with essentially something that is quite different, and this makes you grounded in your own independence. That's how they may see you. They want to take this vision to do something. I'm not exactly sure what it is yet, but they are caught between worlds, between the passive and the active. And this sort of activity that they're trying to push forward is a way to break free from their own cycle. There's a possibility that they are living a life, or they're living a karma that is exclusive, that is not including you. At the same time, they're trying to produce the effect of raising themselves up in some sort of way. And in this respect, some of them is a bit concerned with their own experiences. They want to take their time. They don't want to put too much of a burden on you. So this is somewhat, I think you have more of an influence on them, especially when it comes to your own inner rebel and how it pertains to the evolution of society, the evolution of how the world is perceived, your own perspective. It's exclusively your own. And there also is this element of impatience when it comes to you bringing forward these followers, okay, or these accolades. And the thing is that what they need from you is essentially something that you cannot give, literally. I mean, it's something that you just cannot give. At the same time, there's something free-spirited and inspirational in terms of your own exemplary behavior, and that in which you produce the effect of independence. You bring forward the lightning that comes from the heavens in terms of philosophy, in terms of truth, in terms of the production of truth. And the thing is that the kind of effect you're going to have here is that you may utterly destroy their own conception. You may influence this person in a big way. So for the month of February 2023, you're going to be dealing, this is a potential, you may be dealing with someone who is going to be very strongly influenced by you, to the point where the inner lightning, or the spirit of truth, your ability to be independent and not counteractive, but producing the effect of independence when it comes to your own realities, okay? And what comes from this is very shocking electricity that produces the effect of attraction. You may attract this person in such a way that it will bring a sense of clarity. At the same time, they are very much tied to something they need to break away from. It's a way of doing things in terms of their own experience that is exclusive to you. I don't know why, but it seems to me that there's an impulse to this, something that is, it's a lucky connection in which you are the bringer of luck. You're the bringer of Jupiter, you're the bringer of gifts and glory in terms of wisdom. And the way you behave in terms of idiosyncrasies, okay, in terms of eccentricities, there's an electric component here that actually draws more moths to the flame, or more moths to the light bulb. So it's a very interesting dynamic. You may find also that this type of connection, especially what you're here to do, at least for the Libras that I know, is a way for you to truly liberate these people from their own constricted ways of thinking when it comes to the augmentation of the soul or social status, the augmentation of themselves through reality, and trying to break through modes of work or modes of interactivity in the physical world, and then sort of being inspired by you to break from that. So I like this connection, considering that Gemini is quite strong in the mirror, as well as Jupiter. There's something here about Mercury and Jupiter, which is, not the greatest of relationships between planets, of the importation and the translocation of wisdom that comes through Mercury and Jupiter. The thing is that anything that is on terra firma is potentially conducive to the strike of lightning. Lightning can strike anywhere, and it doesn't strike twice at the same place, but you're going to be affecting a lot of people in terms of this lightning to bring forward the false attributes or the false pretensions of commerce in the physical world as opposed to the metaphysical. Okay, so as lightning descends, it comes in the form of through the etheric, through ionic discharge in the atmosphere, and it comes down and it also spreads, it forks. So there's a possibility of attacking the root, okay, here. It's very interesting because I mentioned that that there's a way for this to come down, and then there's a shaking up of that energy on the material realm, wherein the subconscious could become conscious, okay? So I would say it's a very lucky month for you. You're going to be affecting people like this, who are concerned with this the sort of mundane aspects of experience, and you're going to bring forward lightning to them. That's the best I can do in terms of advice. Try not to be so cold when you do this. Try not to be so cold or exacting. I think there's an austerity, there's a seriousness about you that can be sort of bent. With the King of Swords, the king, and any good sword would have a certain degree of flexibility to sustain strength, strength and durability throughout time. Okay, so the truest of swords bend. That's just basically it. I do wish you well. I will chat with you later, I suppose. Take care now. Bye bye.